The world's most coveted luxury brands, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Dior, Tiffany, and Co., they seem like fierce competitors, each a bastion of unique heritage and design. But what if that competition is largely an illusion? What if the vast majority of the high-end fashion, jewelry, and cosmetics industries are actually controlled by an astonishingly small number of players? In 2023, the global luxury market was valued at an eye-watering $380 billion. Yet beneath the veneer of diverse labels lies a highly concentrated network of power. Three families, their names rarely making headlines, orchestrate this intricate empire, dictating trends, acquisitions, and the very perception of exclusivity. This is the story of how a hidden cartel came to dominate everything you wear. For centuries, luxury was a fragmented affair. Italian artisans produced exquisite leather goods, French couturiers crafted bespoke dresses, and Swiss watchmakers perfected horological marvels. These were often family-owned enterprises, steeped in specific traditions and geographically distinct. The post-World War II economic boom, however, began to shift this landscape. As global trade expanded and a new class of affluent consumers emerged, the potential for scale became apparent. Brand value, once an abstract concept, transformed into a tangible asset. Enter the 1980s and 1990s, a period of aggressive globalization and financialization. Small, independent luxury houses suddenly faced pressures to expand, modernize, and compete on an international stage. Many lacked the capital, distribution networks, or marketing prowess to do so. This vulnerability created an unprecedented opportunity for consolidation. Three European families, through their holding companies, began to systematically acquire these storied brands, not just buying companies, but entire legacies. These were not mere investors. They were visionary empire builders with a long-term strategy for market dominance. Their vision was to transform luxury from a collection of niche businesses into a global, industrialized machine, ultimately controlling both supply and demand across multiple sectors. The question was, how did they manage to do this without drawing the ire of regulators or the public? The architecture of this modern luxury empire began with Bernard Arnault and his company, LVMH Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton. Arnault, originally a construction magnate, saw the immense potential in luxury assets in the mid-1980s. His first major play was Christian Dior in 1984, followed by Louis Vuitton and Moet Hennessy in a complex, often hostile, takeover in 1987. His strategy was brutal efficiency: acquire struggling brands, inject capital, modernize production, and globalize distribution, all while preserving an illusion of heritage and exclusivity. By 1990, LVMH had already amassed a portfolio including Celine, Berluti, and Kenzo. The group's revenue today exceeds 86 billion euros. Witness a similar trajectory with the Pinault family, led by François Pinault. Their conglomerate, then known as PPR, Pinault Printemps Redoute, built its initial fortune in timber and retail distribution. Sensing the shift, Pinault pivoted dramatically into luxury in the late 1990s. The prize, Gucci. A legendary yet embattled Italian brand, Gucci was ripe for a takeover battle. In a dramatic struggle dubbed the Gucci Wars of 1999, Pinault outmaneuvered Arnault, securing a controlling stake. This victory solidified what would become Kering, a luxury powerhouse now owning Gucci, Saint Laurent, Bottega Veneta, and Balenciaga. Kering reported 19.6 billion euros in revenue in 2023. Meanwhile, the third major player emerged from Switzerland, Johann Rupert and the Richemont Group. Unlike Arnault and Pinault, Rupert focused heavily on hard luxury watches and jewelry. In 1988, he spun off his South African Rembrandt Group's international assets into Richemont. The strategy was precision and heritage. Richemont quickly acquired Cartier, Van Cleef & Arpels, IWC Schaffhausen, Jaeger LeCoultre, and Montblanc. Their specialization allowed them to dominate sectors where brand legacy and craftsmanship are paramount. Riquimon's revenue in fiscal year 2023 hit 19.96 billion euros. These three conglomerates did not merely acquire brands, they acquired entire supply chains. They bought tanneries in Italy, diamond mines in Africa, vineyards in France, and manufacturing facilities across Europe. This vertical integration gave them unprecedented control over quality, cost, and intellectual property. They created sophisticated global marketing machines, homogenizing the message of luxury across diverse cultures, turning aspiration into a standardized, purchasable commodity. The scale of their operations meant smaller, independent brands struggled even more to compete, often finding their only viable path was to sell out to one of these three behemoths. The stage was set for a near-total oligopoly. The true revelation, however, extends beyond mere ownership. These three families, through LVMH, Kering, and Riquimont, have not only bought the brands, they have effectively bought the definition of luxury itself. Their collective market capitalization now exceeds $700 billion. They own the most prestigious retail locations on Fifth Avenue, Bond Street, and Avenue Montaigne. They control the major advertising budgets, influencing every fashion magazine, every celebrity endorsement, and nearly every major cultural event that defines what's in. This isn't just about market share, it's about cultural gatekeeping. They dictate trends, not just follow them. From the quiet luxury aesthetic to the rapid-fire release of drops, the strategies are meticulously crafted to maintain demand, scarcity, and perceived value. They leverage their vast resources to absorb any nascent competitor that shows promise, or simply outspend them into irrelevance. The ecosystem of fashion schools, design houses, and artisanal workshops increasingly serves, directly or indirectly, the interests of these three groups. The illusion of a diverse, independent luxury world, driven by individual creative genius, largely masks a highly centralized command economy. Today, the dominance of LVMH, Kering, and Riquimont is more entrenched than ever. Their control spans across fashion, jewelry, watches, cosmetics, spirits, and even high-end hospitality. The COVID-19 pandemic, far from harming them, only reinforced their power, as their robust digital infrastructure and deep pockets allowed them to weather economic shocks better than smaller players. In fact, many saw record profits during the pandemic. Looking ahead, this consolidation presents significant implications. For consumers, it means less genuine innovation and more homogeneous offerings. The distinct identities that once defined brands begin to blur under common corporate strategies. For designers, it limits the avenues for true independence and creative freedom, funneling talent into a few massive corporate structures. For the broader economy, it raises questions about competition, pricing power, and the concentration of wealth in an increasingly few hands. The luxury market, once a mosaic of individual dreams, has become a tightly controlled oligopoly, where the next must-have item is often predetermined by a handful of decision-makers in Paris and Geneva. So the next time you admire a designer handbag, a prestigious watch, or a coveted piece of jewelry, remember the unseen architects behind the labels. The narrative of fierce competition, individual craftsmanship, and spontaneous trends conceals a far more complex reality. Three families, through strategic acquisitions and ruthless execution, have engineered a luxury cartel. They don't just sell you products, they sell you a carefully constructed dream, curated and controlled at every level. The illusion of choice remains, but the power behind it has never been more concentrated.